Well, my friends, Solana has made a move that we have been waiting for well over 3 to 4 months. As you guys know, over the last 3 to 4 months, we have been tracking a 3-step process of confirmations in which would tell us that the market seems to be going in our favor, and these things may be starting to swing back into a bullish perspective. Now, of course, that 3-step confirmation was going to start with the breaking of the trend in which Solana was in. Now, the trend was clearly downward. We were in a downtrend, and what we needed to see was that this trend line right here got broken. Until we were able to get back above this trend line, we never even considered buying. Now, once we were able to break the trend line, what was going to be extremely important was the proving that we can hold it, not just a breakout and a continuation to the downside, something similar to what we saw back here. No, we needed to see, can we hold that trend line and establish some support, exactly as we did right here for confirmation number 2. Now, as you guys can see, as we did hold that support there and continue to the top side, the next goal, the next confirmation, and the final confirmation for our 3-step process was that, can we get back above this rejective high sitting here at $105. Historically, Solana has run into this level of resistance and bounced to the downside. We have not been able to clear it. Now, although sometimes, we had the help of, say, the 50-day moving average to help push us down, it's still the principle that this level at $105 did clearly serve as a key level of confluence, and that until we were able to clear it, there was no point in getting too excited. But now that we have seen the daily close above it, and we are looking decently at maintaining it right now, I would go ahead and say that it does seem as if our 3-step confirmation process may be complete, and the swinging of the momentum towards the bull side has begun, in my opinion. So with that said, let's kind of talk about what that means, how I'm going about it, what I'm expecting, and of course, more. Now, one thing that I will say is I actually did go ahead and pick up some Solana this morning at around $110. Now, as you can see here over on my Patreon, I did announce it about 2 hours ago. I went ahead and increased my position by 5% at $110. And for the reason of purchase, I said, the setting of a new macro higher high whilst breaking out of a consolidationary pattern is the reason that I purchased. Though the charts are extended and we may see a short-term pullback, we are in a great position to see a higher low established in the market, in which I will do another accumulation. So although this run we are in may slow down, I am now confident that the market is in our favor. And so, of course, for that reason, I did purchase some Solana. Now, what I mean by that is that although we are starting to see some of the shorter time frames getting overextended, which I'll cover in a second here, we are in a great position now that we've seen the 3-step confirmation complete, that even if we do pull back at any given point, we very likely could find a higher low above where we saw the 79 level, and we really can start to continue into an uptrend. Remember, an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. Guys, we already have the higher high at this point from where we were. And so considering that fact, at this given point, even if we do pull back, we just have to stay above this level in order to do so. And based off the bullishness we are seeing on the macro charts, the bigger charts, yeah, it does seem as if that is very likely in my opinion. So one of the reasons that I said it's overextended, let's talk about that. Well, there's 2 to 3 main indicators I'll look at for overextensions. First and foremost is the Bollinger Bands. What we know is that the Bollinger Bands are a good representation of when we can be considered overextended to the top side or the bottom side, because historically, we can only maintain within the Bollinger Band envelope to the top or the bottom side for a small set amount of time before we eventually resort back towards that 20 simple moving average. Now, what we can see is that we are extended outside of that Bollinger Band. So likelihood is at some given point, we will resort back to it, just like we did right here, just like we did right here. Even whenever we saw this bounce right here, we will always resort back to the 20 simple moving average. Look historically, every single time that we would get extended, we came back to it. Extended, came back to it. Extended, came back to it. So although we are overextended right now, that and we are looking good, there is a good chance we will resort back to it eventually. Okay, when is that? You never can really know, but we will eventually. Okay, now looking at something like the daily RSI, one thing you can see is that we are inching closer and closer to what is considered overbought territory, the 70 on the RSI, in which many day traders and traders do start to take profits, which always has an effect on the price of Solana and other cryptos, because the buying momentum definitely slows down as people know, okay, likelihood is we will see a pullback eventually. And if we look at the shorter time frames, it's even clearer on the 4-hour, as we are finally starting to see a case of bearish divergence forming, in which we can see the momentum slowing down. We put in this higher high here, but we are failing to put in the higher high on the RSI, meaning this momentum of this drive is slowing down, meaning that a pullback, unless the bulls just really step in, a pullback is very likely, relatively soon. Okay. Now, some people may say, well, Tyler, why would you be buying right now if a pullback is likely, right? If we're overextended. Well, the thing is, sometimes this market just doesn't care, okay? And that's what's crazy about crypto. There is no perfect. You can't be perfect. I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know everything. But what I know is that I like to buy when the market's in my favor, not at the perfect time. I don't try to time the market perfectly. I just like to buy when it seems like it's in my favor. Because we have seen times before. Let's go back to last year when Solana made its first breakout. We had all of these same extensions. Look at this, right? I mean, we realistically had all of these same extensions in which we extended into the top side and we just continued into it. We didn't come back to that 20 simple moving average. Though historically, it is more common and likely that we will. In this example, we didn't, right? And we were even extended into the top side up towards the 70 on the daily RSI. And we just decided, look, we're just going to keep it going. And so for that reason, considering the fact that sometimes these charts will just say, you know what, I don't care if we're overextended. We're ready for bullishness. We're tired of this downtrend. The bulls are stepping in and the gains are being made. I don't want to miss that because I'm trying to time the market perfectly. That's not my goal. That's not my intention. So my current plan, my current process is that if I'm right and we do see a pullback towards the downside, my accumulation will happen on the setting of the higher low. So now that the 3-step confirmation to the breakout is confirmed, I have 3-step purchasing, okay? My 3-step purchasing is this. The first one is when we break the regional high. The second one is when we come back down, or if we come back down, to establish a higher low. Wherever that may be, we will have to just wait and see where it starts to pull back. So then we can gauge the nearest levels of support. You know, whether it's back at this key level of support here, or this previous high here, or whether it's, a really big pullback and we start to see the macro Fibonacci's get engaged. That doesn't really matter right now while we are growing, okay? But once we do see the higher low established and we start to pull back, once we start to bounce off of it, I will start to accumulate at each one of these. So even if it does this, I will then accumulate at each one of these support establishments up until the point that we go below this most recent regional low. If we lose this low, I stop buying because now we're back in a downtrend, okay? But my next step buying, the second step, is buying on the bounces of these support levels. The third step, the last time that I buy, is whenever we finally break the previous high in which we set. So say if we break from right here, that's the point in which I purchase again once we break it again, because at that point, we've then set the higher high, we've then set the higher low, we've now rebroken the higher high, and now we are in a full-blown, what I believe, uptrend back up towards possibly $240, $250, okay? So that's the way I'm looking at it, and that's my game plan. That's how I'm going about it. I'm not trying to time this market perfect. I'm just trying to buy it when things are in my favor, and it does seem like I am more likely than not for this thing to see some growth over the next couple weeks, over the next couple months, okay? So with that being said, that's going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.